Season 1, Episode 17. This week on RebelRebel, Megan Stanley from Dogma Training joins me in studio. Her friends always knew she'd end up working with animals, but it took her some time developing e-commerce, websites, and databases to finally get to the good stuff. Dog first, canine education, and Dogma. I'm your host, Michael Dean Dargy. Season 1, Episode 17, Life Has Literally Gone to the Dogs on RebelRebel. Welcome to the RebelRebel podcast. We're here in Kensington Studio. I'm sitting here with none other than Megan Stanley of Dogma Training. Megan, welcome.
Thank you, Michael. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, me too. I am so excited to have you on as a guest because you do one of my favorite things in the entire world, and that's to look after fur babies. Is that an accurate description?
Definitely. My life has literally gone to the dogs.
That's amazing. So your business is Dogma Training. You've got 2 locations in Calgary.
Yes.
Where are they?
I've got one near Chinook Center,
Yep.
and then we've got one in Clarny on 37th Street.
Awesome. Now, you are going to hear some construction next door. That is par for the course, apparently, for this season of the podcast. So don't let it bug you. Hopefully the walls don't come down.
I don't mind.
Yeah, they're at least they're not using the saw right now.
That's good. That's good.
That is good. So Dogma Training, you're like a dog daycare, you're dog training,
Yeah, dog training is our core. So we're a little bit different than your typical dog daycare. We operate a dog day school. So the dogs come to us, and the entire day that they're with us, they're working with certified trainers.
Wow.
And we mimic kind of like a human school. So they start, puppies come to us and they do kinder pups. They go to Dogma High, and there's a junior and senior high.
Oh my goodness.
And we've got a set of skills that that we work on, and the owners know where their dogs are at and what they need to work on, and they're graded for it. They actually graduate to the next level.
What?
And then they go to Dogma University, and they have a variety of degrees that they can get.
Oh my God,
And
this is amazing.
It's so much fun, and we do it really differently. And part of the reason I've always focused more on training and doing activities, and it's not just this free-for-all. It's not the best choice for the dog. So we've always done it differently, and now we really wanted to elevate that and make sure that when dogs are in more of a free play environment, that it's good for them. We're actually improving behavior. They're comfortable with it. They're well socialized, and they can come and enjoy their days properly.
Amazing.
Yep. So we do that, and then we have the group classes, and we also do private training, and then we teach people to become dog trainers as well. So
holy moly. I have so many questions.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, bravo.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
freaking amazing.
We have a lot of fun with it. So
I can tell. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I love dogs. Every single one of my dogs has been a rescue dog. And they all come with some kind of baggage.
That's
right.
That's how I got started, was baggage dog.
Oh, okay. So can you tell me a little bit about, how you got on this rebellious journey to...
Sure. I think most people who knew me as a child, they're not surprised at all that I'm working with animals. So I always thought I would be a vet. I was vegetarian at a very young age. I just had this connection with animals. Yeah. But then because of that, being a vet wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I got to the end of high school. I was working a job and got into software development. I was doing like database design, and then I know, totally different, went and did an e-commerce program and wasn't really enjoying the job, right?
Yeah.
I hated being stuck at a desk and felt like there's more to life than that. So I started my first business doing web design.
Yeah.
And when I was doing that, started volunteering with the Calgary Humane Society to sort of fill that need of working with animals.
Yeah.
And I think I ended up putting more volunteer hours there than I was. And when I realized I could actually become a dog trainer and do more with that, I started down that path. And needless to say, life is...
Wow.
Shot off in an entirely different direction. So
that's amazing. Like what a change. And so when you decided to start Dogma, because I mean it's a big thing. It's check out the website, is really cool because it does go through all the programs and stuff like that. You've got blog posts going back to 2013. Yeah. But yeah, Megan's Musings is like, because you go through a lot of stuff, and your knowledge is huge. Your compassion is gigantic. So when you started doing Dogma, was it because of a troubled dog that you had?
It was. So I adopted my first dog. I got him from Animal Services, so he was in doggy jail. And I was working at the Humane Society, seeing tons of dogs, really looking, and him and I just very much connected. He very much chose me. There's all these dogs that were noisy, and he was quiet little guy in his kennel and put on a good show, played fetch, was just really awesome little guy. Him and I bonded right away, and then I brought him home. And the first walk I took him out on, I had Cujo on leash. He was terrified of the world. He was about 6 to 8 months and a big black shepherd. And I had no idea at the time, right? And I just took him out, and he would see people and dogs and like for sale signs and lawn ornaments. It didn't matter. Everything new was terrifying. And he dealt with his fear with very scary behavior.
Yeah.
And so my work with him sort of led me down this path, because I had this sweet dog at home. It's just once he got out into the world, it was terrifying. And people didn't understand it, but I wanted to help him through. I knew I just had to make him feel safe. And so we had quite the journey. We call him my canine co-founder.
Oh yeah, because you started a foundation.
Yes. So we lost Guinness about 2 years ago now. He lived a good life. He lived till he was 14.
Nice.
Yeah, so he had a great life, and he's really inspired more since. And his journey is that inspiration for a lot of the dogs we see, because people have these dogs that they're scared of. They're scared to take them out into the world. And Guinness, we joke, I kind of turned him into an attention whore. He loved people in the end. And he would come to events with me, and he would be like seminars, and he would meet clients coming in. And so he really became that inspiration for people that you can do it. We just have to have the right setup for them and the right training. So
very cool. So walk me through like a typical day at Dogma.
Sure. So we open 6:30 in the morning. It's chaos. We can see in a day, we can see upwards of 150 dogs coming into the facilities.
Oh my God.
Not per facility, but all together with classes and that. We have grooming out of the one. So the dogs are coming in, and they have their lockers, and we've got, they check in, and we have a very structured open and close to make sure that the dogs were very aware of their behavior and making sure it's not too exciting, and they are very excited. So the first couple hours are basically just getting them organized. We group by play style and size as well. So we spend a lot of time making sure that the dogs are in the right group, that they're comfortable, and do that. And then during the day, we do structured activities. So they'll be, depending on what program they're in, they're learning certain skills. We do fun activities and enrichment. They do math, science, phys ed. So it's very busy during the day. There's a lot going on, but we do a lot too to make sure that the dogs, it's structured, and it's not too exciting, and they're not running around, and that we are actually managing and improving their behavior while they're with us.
That is so cool.
It's a lot of fun. So we have puppy therapy right at our fingertips.
I lost my dog like a couple of years ago, and we used to go and play soccer all the time. That's his ball down there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so now walking around Kensington, I always have to stop and get a little fuzz therapy as they go by. If they let me. That's
it's true though. It's amazing. We've got it right there, and they're very in tune to that. Like one of my first experiences it was just myself, and I was dealing, and I had some little dogs around me. I was working on a computer, and I don't remember what it was, but something kind of stressed me out at the time, and I was feeling it. And it got really quiet. And when you have dogs around, when it gets quiet, that's usually right. That's and it got very quiet, and I turned around, all of them were just sitting and staring at me. They were very in tune. And I went down to them, and I remember them all just being like typical little loving dogs. They were all worried about me, and at that point I was like, I can't complain. I've got this right at my fingertips, and it's just that perspective they give you on things. So
that's crazy. So I think I know the answer to this, but the dogs must really love coming there.
They do,
the structure and the attention.
Yeah, absolutely. And day school is not necessarily for every dog, and that's something I think we do differently, is we are always the voice of the dog first. Right? So people may want to come and bring their dog 5 days a week. It might not be the best choice for the dog. It is very exciting for them, so sometimes having the days of rest is really important for their overall well-being.
Gotcha.
And that's where all of our education and training really comes in. We can work with dogs, so if they're coming in and they might be feeling a little nervous, we have training programs to help introduce them in. We have dogs in the facility. We call them our canine mentors. So these are dogs that help the dogs that are kind of nervous. And so we have a whole integration process for dogs that might not be as as comfortable. It's like first day school.
Yeah.
For some of them, it's terrifying, right? They have no idea what's going on. So we work with that. And if the dog...
That's so sweet.
It is like... And I think that's really our specialty, is getting them in with their canine companions. We have a controlled environment.
Yeah.
We can make sure that they're meeting their right friends.
Wow.
It's okay. They don't need to love everyone, you know, so we can fill that for them. In some dogs, it's not that enjoyable. We see dogs kind of age out of it as well. So I always give the analogy, it would be us hang out with junior high kids all day. It might be kind of fun at first, but by the end of the day, you're probably needing a break. And so the dogs can feel that same thing as well. So
wow. Do you have goals to expand further than 2 stores? Like, what does the future look like for you?
Yes. So we truly believe that dogs deserve more Dogmas.
Yeah.
So that's all the work. I've been working really hard. I've got an amazing leadership team.
Yeah.
And we've been working very hard these past couple of years at just really making sure. I sort of sat back and thought about how I would want Dogma to expand.
Yeah.
And so we've made some plans there. We've been doing a few other programs. We've invested in some software. We're doing custom software that we can really address the training needs for the dogs and just have better communication with clients, and just give them more value add so they know what's going on with their dogs. And so we're just about done that. So we're just kind of finalizing everything, and then we want to do some physical location expanding. We want to go into boarding, and we're also in the process of moving all of our training online.
Oh wow!
As well. So.
Oh, that's so good. How did and not mean to set you up in any one way or the other, but the dog whisperer.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on him and his process? Is it similar to what you do?
No, and I think ultimately, the value that he had was helping people understand that dog training is important. Mm-hmm. You need to spend that time with your dog.
Yeah.
The challenge being is that he came in with no education, operates very much off fear and intimidation.
Yeah.
Which works. I mean, I could go and scare the dogs so they don't want to misbehave around me. Unfortunately, we're not changing behavior. There's a very high risk. You're leaving the animals under stress. It's not that much fun for anyone.
Yeah.
So we focus more on teaching the dogs what to do.
Yeah.
Making that really rewarding. The human world is just so foreign, and I think
it's so different.
Right? People think that dogs should just come and know how to behave. And
we do, don't we?
Right, we really do. And so if they don't behave, we want to just stop it and correct it, which just doesn't make sense to the dog. They don't know what to do instead.
Right.
So we can leave dogs under a lot of stress. So our job is helping them be successful in the family and the human world.
Yeah.
So we're exposing them, teaching them that the world is safe. We want it to be fun for both the dog and the human. And that's how you really build that confidence.
Gotcha.
You know, it shouldn't just be about stopping what they're doing.
Right.
It's about showing them what to do.
So
and they
cool.
love it, right?
Yeah.
Then they love the train, they love doing it, and it's pretty cool to see that relationship too.
Yeah, no kidding. So your online training then is going to be like video based?
Yeah, we do our dog trainer program, and we've had people come from Lethbridge and Fernie and Rocky Mountain House, and so there's a real need for that. We want to move it online so that people can do it faster, but we're still looking at some hands-on. We want to make sure, because you can't be a dog trainer without ever not having hands-on, right? Working with a dog.
Yeah.
We're building our training out so clients, if they're coming to our classes and whatnot, they've got access to good quality information that they can reference all the time. And then we're building out, and we'll have videos and programs and access to trainers as well on a more on-demand type service.
Sort of like a chat service or a...
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, just being more available, because... You know, you might learn something in class, and then you go home and your dog does something, and you want to make sure you're responding to it appropriately and helping them. So
yeah, that's really cool. I know when we got Billy is the name of he was a Staffordshire Terrier.
That's awesome. That's a soccer player.
Yeah, the soccer player. And we ended up getting him from the SPCA, and he was dog of the year because actually they wouldn't put him down, and he wasn't getting adopted because he was a pit bull.
Yes.
But oh my goodness, what a temperament! So, but the staff would always play fetch with him, right? So he was there long term until we got him.
That's awesome.
But I love the fact that when you adopt there, you need to take them to dog classes.
Yes.
Which was great, and I wish that we had kept up with that as well, because when we moved back into the city, there's a whole bunch of different things. He got attacked by a big dog once.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Which he then, because he was a pit bull, he just sort of grabbed the dog by the scruff of the neck, like a big dog, tossed him up, put him down, and that was over. It was done.
That's
And the other dog was like, "Oh shit." Okay. But yeah, like the value of training and becoming a trainer, I can see is, is it difficult to become a dog trainer?
It can be challenging for people because there's so much different information out there. So you look at something like you brought up the dog whisperer. If that's where people first learn and they don't know any different, and then they're coming out, and that can be really tough. And there's a lot of misinformation right now. We're completely unregulated, right? So you could tomorrow say like, I love dogs and I'm going to be a dog trainer, and go out and be offering the same that we are, right? And so there's not any regulation, and I think dog owners are becoming smarter. We've really seen that was sort of my initial goal, was educate the dog owning public.
Oh, good.
And get that out. And then as they start to understand, they expect more, and you see that pressure for us to improve, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really easy. Anyone could do it. It's just you're dealing with a live animal, right? And family. So if that's not successful, are you putting the family at risk, the general public at risk if you have a dangerous dog, or there's a lot to it. So it's easy in the sense we don't want it to be that easy. We want to make sure people have the experience, and I started the dog trainer program partly because of that, but also because people, if they were doing just these correspondence programs, there was a really high fail rate for trainers.
Oh, yeah?
Because they'd go and start doing it, and they'd not have the confidence or experience and be overwhelmed. It can be very emotional.
Yeah.
So we wanted to better equip people to be more successful.
Gotcha. How long does it take typically to become a dog trainer?
Through our program, it's taken people 12 to 16 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they're doing everything. They're coming and working with puppies. They'll work with reactive and fear. Wow. We teach them the business side, public speaking, because that's terrifying. You have to go and teach in front of a group of people. And
yes.
So it was a really comprehensive program.
Yeah.
So we're still going to do that. We're just breaking it out in modules and also doing some training for trainers. So,
oh, great. Yeah. Amazing. So, oh man, that just opens up a whole nother can of worms.
It does.
I love this idea. Now, are you planning on becoming a regulatory board? Is that something that's on your horizon, or? Yeah,
definitely. So I sit as the chair for the Association of Professional Dog Trainers. So the work that we're doing there, we're celebrating 25 years this year as an organization, and it's international. It's based out of the States. Yeah. We're doing some work, and we're trying to work at improving the regulations and at least help drive it. Yeah. Because what we're seeing is it being kind of reactive right now.
Right. Yeah.
So something goes viral and people get upset.
Right.
And then we've got lawmakers coming in and trying to make the rules around that, and we want to be more proactive with it, that there's a minimum standard, so we're keeping the animals safe, but that people can operate a successful business still.
Yeah, interesting. What are your thoughts on the whole Montreal banning pit bulls thing? Do you have thoughts around that?
Yeah. Our spokesdog for Dogma, we have my dog, Duke.
Yeah.
So he's Duke the Unlikely Pit Bull, and he's, and it's because he's like our big baby. He sleeps all the time. He's a big, suck, but he's a big pit bull.
Is he a blockhead? Like one of the...
Yes, huge blockhead. He's and...
I love pit bulls so much.
He's such a doll, right? And so he comes with me to events, he's been on stage with me. He's really our advocate.
Yeah.
He helps dogs that come into Dogma. He's really spokesdog for it. So we did a whole campaign when they were talking about it. We did a Brains Not Breed.
Yeah.
And did all the stuff and really use him as our spokesdog. And I can see how people are nervous of him initially because he's big, but once they realize he's just a big baby, and so it's just not the answer, right? We don't believe in discrimination of any form at Dogma, and that includes dogs and breeds. It just doesn't make sense. We're better than that, and we can make some more proactive, intelligent decisions too.
Oh, that's so amazing. You make my heart swell. Just love that so much. Man. So do you do, now is it only dogs, or do you do other animals as well?
It's only dogs now. We have this vision for Katma because you can. And it's kind of, we joke, and we have a couple of my teams, I know we have a couple team members. We have Sheldon, who is my operations manager's cat that's like an employee. So he'll come and hang out in the office. He works with the puppies.
Oh my goodness.
So part of our puppy program, they get to spend time with well-socialized cats that go in. It's great for them. And we do clinics where dogs that aren't sure about cats will come and get to meet Sheldon in a really controlled environment. And so we work with cats within. It's just we don't really have a great setup to do that. But I think for cats, honestly, I think cats could be as socialized and as successful as dogs. It's just that they tend not to be raised the same. So we want to see some help there. Right?
And they're certainly a little more independent as well. They tend to do whatever the hell the cat wants to do is what the cat's going to do.
Pretty much, right? I find like they're also like my cat at home is incredibly food motivated.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so we do like he can sit pretty, shakes paw. He has the best recall because recall means food. So he's like, and so you can train and do the same with them. It's just not necessarily the same exposure to it. So
interesting. Do you use clickers to train your dogs?
We do personally. Like I've used them. We have some classes where we teach it. Part of our goal with training is to always make sure that training is at its simplest. We want it to be accessible, convenient, very simple. So we just use like a yes as a reward marker. You always have your voice. And we do that partly because when we're teaching owners, you've got this live, sometimes like Mexican jumping bean at the end of your leash, right? And you're trying to deal with the leash and the dog and traits. So we keep them out of training classes for that. If someone's using them, by all means, they can bring it in. It's just...
Interesting. Cool. So you said treat motivated, clicker. Yes, you always have your voice. What are some other things that you would use to train dogs?
Anything that they find rewarding. So a lot of life rewards. So when people think about training, we want training to just, it's always happening regardless if you're formally doing it or not, right? Especially with a new dog or a new puppy coming into the house. So anything that your dog sees rewarding, whether that's you giving them attention, getting their food bowl, getting to go out the door, getting the leash on to go for a walk, you know, getting to go smell the female fire hydrant, whatever, all of those things are rewards. So training can always be happening.
Interesting.
Right? So when we're first teaching a skill, we use the food and it really powers it up. And especially in something like a classroom environment where it's really distracting, you can teach a dog very quickly that this is fun to do.
Gotcha.
And they're rewarded. And then after that, it's just they do it for anything that's rewarding for them.
Interesting. I want to go back to your expansion. Are you thinking about franchising, or are you thinking about just...
I think I'd like to get a few more down before I kind of decide that side. And part of it is because we do have such high standards with Dogma. And even that's been one of my challenges is you bring team in and ensuring that quality control is there and all the systems are being followed and that we're really doing our best on those standards. And so, you know, we've discussed a few different ways that may be able to transfer into franchise, but there's always that concern when you sort of lose that influence and what that impact could have.
Right. Not just on your brand, but on your fuzzy friends.
Exactly. And that's the kind of thing that, you know, would keep me up at night. Like if you're worried people aren't making the right choices or they're making shortcuts or anything, we're very much the dog first and then profits and everything after. So
I love hearing that.
It's been tough. Like I would say that's not being very welcomed by a lot of other businesses. Like we don't want to see people not be successful, but we want all businesses that are caring and training for dogs to have a minimum standard they've got to rise to.
Right. Yeah.
And that's because we're responsible for the dog. Yeah. Right. We want to make sure that they're successful. So that's the only thing that I'm not sure. I think I'll have to see what it's like maybe getting a few more locations open and sort of assess the feasibility of it there. And
how big of this started with you and your passion and your dog.
Yes.
And it's grown into this thing, which is quite large. Just by itself, 150 dogs a day. I mean, that's a lot of dogs. I don't know if anybody's ever seen like 5 dogs in one place, but 150 is kind of crazy. What have been some of the challenges that you've had? You're on this rebellious journey. What have been some of those tough parts?
I think there's a part where, initially, there's a lot of naysayers, definitely. But I took that as fuel. It was just kind of like, well, I'm going to prove you, this is going to work. And even when I first opened, my first location was 6,000 square feet. I hadn't had any type of retail. People thought I was nuts, right? And so there's kind of that fuel to show people. Some of the biggest challenges too, I think, when you go out and you're really driving change and advocating for it, you get super fans, but you also get super not fans. Right?
Yeah.
Like, there's not a whole lot of in between. It kind of just divides that way. And when we're driving and really pushing that change, and that was hard for me on a personal level.
Sure. What would people like? Why would people be upset with you? Like, what would that look like?
It really comes down to philosophy stuff. So if people don't want to, if they want to use punishment in their training, or they want to maybe, it's easy. I mean, one of our highest costs as a business is staff. So I'm training staff. We're investing a lot in their training. We also have the lowest staff to dog ratio. So staff costs are huge for my business. Right. So we put a lot into that. Where another business might just put one team member and have 30 plus dogs in a room.
Oh, yeah. Profit.
Yeah. So you eat into that as we start to fight for that change.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing that we've proven is that you can be a successful model and still make the right choice for the dog. And that's been a lot of work, and that's just been my stubbornness. I'm not sure like what it is, just to make it happen, to really get there. So that, I would say, on a personal level has been tough, because I feel like when you're doing it for the right reasons, but you're dealing with people that want to undermine that, maybe have people perceive you on a different level, and that's been really difficult. We're a very emotional and passionate group, dog lovers. So
that's great.
That can be kind of challenging at times, but again, I think it's just fuel fire in me. I just use it to keep launching forward and show that it can be successful. And that's kind of changed, because now I'm focusing more on the business side and helping. I am kind of an anomaly for a dog trainer, that we now have this business and we can do this, and you can still make the right choices, but profit's not a dirty word either, right? Like,
totally.
We can still have a successful business. So now I'm really taking that passion and wanting to help the industry and really professionalize and advance us a bit more that way. So
love it. Well, I mean, from background of software development, and what a great way to take a passion and a business and then apply some of the stuff that you've done.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would say it was not a education gone to waste by any means.
Yeah. It's like you're using it all.
It totally.
That's amazing.
And I think the only other side is the team. Like, it is hard building a team. And some of the lessons that way, I mean, you get people that they love dogs, but then they come in, and when you're in these large groups of dogs, they're like, I love my dog, right? It's like, so you need people that are very passionate, and finding people that are really bought into what we're trying to accomplish and change. But once you get those people, it's amazing. Like, my success is because of my team, usually. So
that's so good. Well, and I think, if I could, your success is dog first, like to come from that DNA of your brand and have everything else ripple out from that. I think you nailed it.
Thank you. We're trying. So what we always say, it's always like we are the voice of the dog. So we're just here. That's and every individual dog in our care, it's ensuring that we're addressing their well-being. And sometimes, I mean, that can make the owners not happy at time. We've had situations where, especially if day school is not right, or if they're struggling, and that can sometimes, it can be emotional for the owners, and they can struggle with that. But that's always our number one, right? So I love that, and I want to call that out, because I think that's, to me, when I look at brands, and I always look for the nugget, the DNA, the thing that everything comes out from, and that to me jumps out as the thing, and it's because of that, and because of your love of dogs and being the voice of dog, and that's why this is happening. It's amazing. Yes,
I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's exciting, and it's very passion driven.
Yeah, that's great. So we got the Sawzall now next door in the construction. So I was hoping they wouldn't bring that out, but what are you going to do? What do you watch movies?
Yes.
What's your favorite genre?
I love Tim Burton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that kind of world, that
it's sort of quirky horror. I don't even know what you call that.
Yeah,
genre.
I'm not sure either. I don't know that they're all so different. Like and so he's my go-to, like must go see type movie in any of his that come out.
Are you Coraline? Do you like that one or Beetlejuice? Like, what's sort of your favorite, or are they all just good?
Beetlejuice, I love. Like that's the classic, right?
Yeah.
You've got Beetlejuice. We do Beetlejuice. I'm Lydia for our Halloween party. We do a haunted house for dogs, and that's our right. So my husband's Beetlejuice. We have an awesome costume that we do, and so I love that. But the Alice in Wonderland and the Willy Wonka and all that was very cool too. Like so visual that I like that escape and just a whole new way to see things. His mind is pretty intriguing. So.
Oh yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah, the his visual style is distinct, and his storytelling style too.
Yeah.
Pardon me. What do you do for fun? Like, what's your thing?
I like getting out. I would say I like being a tourist in my own city.
Oh, nice.
So it's one thing. I'm a big travel too, but I'm a big life is too short. So I want to make sure I work hard, but I play harder. That's a big thing. I want to make sure that I'm enjoying life. So we do a lot, get the dogs out all the time. I live by Fish Creek.
Nice. Yeah.
So going out for hikes, love to travel. I was trying to have a trip on the horizon and get out and explore. And then I love yoga. I'm a do yoga every damn day. That's like I start my day with it, and then but really just this time of year especially is just getting out and doing all the cool things Calgary has to offer. And
what's your favorite thing in Calgary right now for like an adventure?
We did on Friday night. We did the Rage Room.
Oh, isn't that great?
So much fun. We did the Office Space, so my team got me that, and it was so much fun. So that was really cool.
What music did you have playing?
We had some for 90s mix. Like we were just kind of because we weren't expecting it, and we were trying to think really on the spot, and then it didn't really fit. Some of the songs that were coming through weren't really fitting, so we were joking. We'd say that we want to go back and do it again and come in with a playlist for that because we were talking like Rage Against the Machine like and so that was super fun. And then we went to Pin Bar after.
I wanted to go there since they opened.
So much fun. So that was kind of a fun night, and it was pretty busy, but there's tons of machines in there, and it's pretty cool. It's a good way to spend a night for sure.
Oh, that's cool. When you were at Rage Room, did you see their archery thing?
We wandered through, and they have lots of cool stuff because we're always looking when we do team events. We always try and do something like that, get out and do something sort of different, and it looked like they had some cool stuff in there.
That's awesome. How many staff do you have?
We have about 25. We usually have about 25 to 30. So we're just building up coming the new year and recruiting, bringing more in right now. And
awesome.
Yeah.
Hear that, people? Recruiting.
Yes.
Dogma.
We are. Yes. We're looking for people who want to become dog trainers. So
amazing. Wow. Okay. What's your favorite restaurant in Calgary? Or do you have a favorite?
I do. The Coop.
Oh, okay. Amazing.
Super favorite. I love that one. That's my... If I only had one I could pick, that would be the one.
All right. What's your... do you go to the bar scene at all? Do you have like a favorite live venue?
Well, no, not really. I'm trying to think. We do pubs more now, and it's kind of that stuff. We just try and hit as many new ones. I went to Betty Lou's.
Oh, library.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy cool?
Very cool. So stuff like that, like finding those little gems and doing that was fun. And I haven't been back. We were talking, want to get back there soon and do because they do like the live jazz and stuff. And
that's outstanding. I was in Manila a couple months ago, and my eldest son is there.
Okay,
and he took us to a speakeasy that's in a 7-Eleven.
Oh wow!
So you walk into this 7-Eleven and you give this guy a look, and he opens a cooler. You walk through the cooler, through a curtain, and into this amazing
that is too
club.
Cool.
And I'm just like, this is nuts.
I love those little things. So that's it. That's what we decided because we went to other cities where I was going to stuff like that. So we're like, gotta do more of that in Calgary. And there's so many little gems like that you can find. And
what's your favorite place to travel to? Do you have a go-to vacation place, or do you like to see new places all the time?
I try to do new places. We New Orleans has a voodoo music festival every year, so that's when we try to get to yearly. That's kind of a go-to, and I love New Orleans and
I've never been.
It's amazing, and live music. I mean, one of our favorite places. There's a Steamboat Willie, and he's in like this free park. You just go and he plays every night, and he's like,
wow.
And so we try to do that, and the voodoo festival is pretty good. They have a few different genres of music and big stage in 3 days. And
Yeah.
Halloween down in New Orleans is insanity and lots of fun.
I bet.
We did Costa Rica this past year, first time, and loved it.
Were you right on the coast or were you inland?
We did both. So we had 2 weeks where we rented a car and we just kind of did Airbnbs all around.
Amazing.
And it was so much fun, and just, I loved the country. They're quite advanced on animal rights. So even on a values match,
Nice.
they're very much more advanced than we are as Canada in that sense.
Really?
Yeah, so I found that really interesting, and it's very much a priority for them down there. And
Wow, I love hearing that.
yeah,
I had no idea.
I didn't either, really. Like, when I started looking into it, and just, they passed new laws last year, and I mean, they don't allow roadside zoos, no animals for entertainment, no hunting in the country, like,
Love it.
they believe in sort of that harmony,
Yeah.
and they do amazing with it. It's great.
Jeez. Did you ever do one of the, like, their jungle tours?
Yeah.
Kind of thing where you,
Yeah.
and you see, like, jaguars and...
We didn't see I would have loved to have. Like, there's tons of, like, their alligators. I'm not sure what they called them there. I forget, but so cool.
Yeah.
Like, we went out in the monkeys, Howler monkeys, like,
Oh my God.
everywhere there.
Really? Was it trippy? Like, or was it, like, did it freak you out, or was it...
I'm used to that. Growing up, we actually lived in Indonesia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was there when I was in junior high. So I think at that age,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, it just normalizes that in a sense almost.
Yeah,
We
sure.
were, and it's very jungle there, and it
Yeah.
was very third world when we lived there as well. And so that was pretty cool. And then the Howler monkeys, so the middle of the night, like when they do it and they sound like they're right outside your room, and
Yeah.
it's a terrifying sound that comes out of them, but
They're named appropriately.
yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
I noticed that you have a tattoo.
Yes.
Well, a couple of them, but I see the one on your hand. There's a
Yeah.
anchor. What's that about?
This is Tofino. So my husband, we got married in Tofino.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so that's another place we try to go out to frequently. And then the day after, there's a tattoo parlor there. And so we just figured. So we got the anchor tattoos
Oh, that's so cool.
there. And most of my like, this is New Orleans. I get
Yeah.
most of mine when I travel
Oh, wonderful.
and do. And so some of them are ones that I want, but I like getting them different places. And
Yeah, that's cool. Tofino, I try to get out there at least once a year.
It's amazing.
And
It's
Ucluelet is actually, I'll stay in Ucluelet, and
Yes.
just because it's a little more calm,
that's what we tend to do too.
a little
Yeah.
less Banff and a little more
Yeah.
Canmore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's wild. Are you a reader? Do you have
Yes.
time to read?
Reading is a priority of mine, actually.
Nice.
So, yeah. So, I read a lot. I usually do like 4 to 6 books a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like,
so,
and what type? Like nonfiction?
right now,
fiction?
a lot of business. I think because
Okay.
of just wanting to really grow the business, and
Yeah.
I've sort of had to change from being a skilled dog trainer to now business owner. Like, it's very this shift that way, and so I do a lot of books, like, just whether it's business or even just like, I just read Mindset, which
Yeah.
was really cool, and more ways just to help me really prepare and develop myself. And
Yeah. Interesting. So you're to go from dog trainer to business owner. I mean, you've been a business owner the whole time,
Yeah.
but now you're focusing on this side of it.
Yes.
I suspect that there's lots of other people out there in the world that are either thinking about starting a business or they're in the middle of a transition in their business. Reading obviously is helpful. What
Yeah.
other advice would you give business owners?
I think finding other business owners and surrounding yourself. So I would say the one thing I didn't hire soon enough
Yeah.
is one thing I would have done differently. And the other thing too, I done a lot of networking within my industry.
Yeah.
But I didn't do enough networking and have more people that had businesses, maybe businesses to the same size or bigger,
Right.
that you could learn from.
And different businesses, right?
Yeah,
Like, that's
totally.
yeah.
And just that support, because it is really lonely. I have this amazing team. I've got amazing family. Everyone supports you, but they're more like rah-rah cheerleader versus practical. Like,
Right.
This is what I'm going through, and
Yeah.
what can I expect, or what, some of those lessons that people have learned. And that's being really pivotal for me once I shifted and focus more. We've got such an amazing small business community in Calgary too.
Oh, isn't it vibrant?
It's incredible. And just to be around people that want to see you succeed and support that.
Right.
And cheerlead you. And you can have the moments where you're like, this is really shitty right now. And they understand that.
Yeah.
But also you can go and say, hey, I just kicked ass at this. And they're actually happy that you can have that type of relationship is really cool.
Oh, yeah. I love that about Calgary. Calgary is without question the smallest big city. The biggest small city. It's crazy how like you reach into your network and like I got a guy.
Yeah.
You know, I can pick up the phone and be like, I am so screwed here. What do I do? And that person is just like, oh yeah, you can do this, and they'll be like, oh, you need to go talk with Megan.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, cool.
It's amazing, and just the support. That's it. You know that you've got it there if you ever need it, and
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Any final words of advice that you could share?
Well, I think if you're thinking of doing it, I live life really on life's too short, right? I've got that Mark Twain
nice.
quote tattooed on me.
Yeah.
And it's that you'll regret more the things you didn't do than the things you did do.
Yeah.
So I think for everyone, whether that's starting a business or just day to day, I always try and make my decisions that way. You know, I might be tired and it's like, should we go to Rage Room or should we go... Right? And
go to Rage Room.
Yeah, right. I'm not going to regret going to do that. So always like trying to keep that in mind and just do it. That's how you move forward and really enjoy life. So
awesome. I had so much fun.
Me too. It was awesome.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming out.
Thank you.
Coming up next week, I sit down with Willem Klumpenhauer of Spur the New West and Klumpentown, and we finally figure out how transit works. Or do we? Check it out on next week's episode, Rebel Rebel, every Monday.